Welcome back, entrepreneurs, to this fabulous greatest hits episode of the Foundry. We're going to lead next week with a new great episode with Jacob Vanderslice. We're going to talk about self storage. But this week, I've got lined up for you some of the greatest quotes we've had in the last dozen episodes or so. And we're going to lead with Chris Galizio, star of episode 173, as well as executive producer of the award winning movie Money Game. Look out for it in theaters nationwide in early 2025, possibly sooner. If you're in the Boston area, you may have already seen it in theaters. Definitely highly recommend this. I got to see a pre-screening edition, and I will tell you that it is an outstanding movie. Take your friends, take your family, even the ones that don't enjoy economics or finance. It'll definitely educate them about what's going on in the world today. And I think that even for those of us that are perhaps well studied, I think it's going to provide very valuable commentary. Highly recommended. Here he's going to start by talking about index investing and its impact on our markets. Jack Bogle, the founder of index investing back at Vanguard, he was the first to put out those index funds. He pointed out that if you have the vast majority of people in index funds, it's literally going to break those markets. So next on to Chris.
When the Fed intervened in bond markets, they broke the ecosystem of capitalism. Money shifted to the passives and the quants, not because they were smarter, but because they have no morals.
And next up, he's got a great quote about how money printing, it's not just about inflating the asset prices, but also its impacts on the real economy.
It's clear now that money printing sends asset prices up. What's less clear is it also slows the real economy as we misallocate resources. Money printing doesn't create wealth. Wealth is created by all your hard work.
Finally, now his movie talks about how markets are not just distorted, but actually broken.
Once you understand that markets are broken and not reading the news, you're holding a crystal ball.
That's a point that this movie really drives home. So hopefully you get some valuable insights from this. And I would say if it saves you from even one bad investment, definitely worth the ticket price. Like to send a big thank you to Chris Galizio. Outstanding episode. And if you're a fan, and I certainly am, check Chris out. He's had a prior episode with us about 6 months back. Definitely worth checking into. All right, next up, we have Brandon Cobb from episode 171 to talk about ways to ensure you don't lose your precious capital.
The more time your deal spends on the market, the more risk there is. And we eliminate that time risk by lining up our end buyer first. So making sure your end buyers line up. And then finally, downside protection. You want to make sure you have deep margin deals where you've got downside protection.
Right now, we've got Seth Williams from episode 162. He's got some insights on changing markets to share.
Just because the market looks a certain way when you start doesn't mean it's going to look that way when you finish. And so you got to take that into account and make sure, like, does this thing still cash flow, even if it doesn't go as fast and as good as I was hoping it would? And luckily, it's fine for us. We had plenty of margin built into our deal, but I can see how a lot of people could get stuck on the wrong side of that when they finish.
All right, great. Well, I'd like to thank all of my guests and most of all, my viewers and listeners in my audience. I want to let you know that I love my audience, each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us on this special Greatest Hits episode. Catch you on the flip side.